Welcome back, the rare and valuable coins. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Abraham Lincoln pennies and rare silver Kennedy half dollars. But not just any coins, we're talking about the ones that sold for thousands of dollars at auction. So let's get started. The 1964 large date with D mint mark error, circulated and exhibiting a unique rusty coloration. This particular piece has become a legend among collectors, and its value in today's auction market is nothing short of spectacular. The 1964 Lincoln cent is an intriguing coin for multiple reasons. Historically, it represents a key transitional period in U.S. coinage, as the nation was moving closer to the elimination of silver from coins and adjusting production methods to meet changing demands. Minted at the Denver Mint, hence the D mint mark. The 1964 cent is typically common, but the large date variety with the D mint mark error is exceptionally rare. This error involves a specific die anomaly where the mint mark appears doubled or misplaced, and the date digits are notably larger than standard issues, creating a striking contrast. The coin's rusty color results from the circulation and environmental exposure that causes oxidation on the copper surface. While this might detract from aesthetic perfection in some coins, in this case, it adds a layer of historical authenticity and character, making it even more desirable to collectors who prize uniqueness. From a mintage perspective, the overall production of 1964 Lincoln cents at Denver was high, numbering in the hundreds of millions. However, the error varieties are exceedingly scarce, with only a few dozen known examples verified by experts and grading authorities like PCGS and NGC. This scarcity elevates the coin's desirability among collectors, especially those seeking error coins or variations within the Lincoln cent series. The design of the 1964 Lincoln cent follows the classic wheat reverse motif, which had been in use since 1909. This design features Abraham Lincoln's right-facing portrait on the obverse, created by Victor David Brenner. The reverse side displays two wheat ears framing the inscription 1 cent and United States of America. This design symbolizes Lincoln's humility and dedication to the common man, further increasing the coin's historical appeal. The error mint mark and the large date give this coin a unique story. Such errors typically occur during die preparation and can sometimes be traced to specific die wear or damage. Collectors are fascinated by these errors as they are tangible evidence of the coin's production history, offering a glimpse behind the scenes of the minting process. The rarity of this specific error, combined with the coin's circulated condition and rusty patina, tells a story of a coin that has survived decades, carrying its imperfections proudly. In terms of collector interest, this coin has seen explosive growth in value over recent years, especially as the market for error coins has expanded. Serious numismatists recognize that the 1964 large date with D mint mark error is a must-have for a complete Lincoln cent collection, particularly for those focused on varieties and errors. At auctions, such coins have fetched prices well into the six figures, with some exceptional specimens reaching over $250,000 depending on condition and provenance. The market value today is influenced not only by the coin's rarity, but also by its historical context, error significance, and demand among collectors worldwide. Auction houses specializing in rare coins frequently see bidding wars for this coin, with buyers ranging from private collectors to museums and investment groups. Now, moving on to our next coin, the 1980 large date silver Kennedy half dollar with a D mint mark, also in good condition. This coin brings its own fascinating story, rich in numismatic detail and collector enthusiasm. The 1980 Kennedy half dollar continued the legacy of silver coin production, albeit at a time when the U.S. Mint was navigating complex economic and policy changes around precious metals. By 1980, the silver content in circulating coins had ceased years earlier, but the Kennedy half dollar continued to be struck in 40% silver for special collector and bullion purposes, with the 1980 coins standing at the tail end of this production. The D mint mark identifies this coin as minted in Denver, one of the U.S. Mint's primary facilities, adding to its collectability by providing a geographical provenance. The large date on the 1980 coin is a variation notable to collectors and experts, signifying a particular die use that produced digits larger and bolder than the standard issue. Historically, 1980 was a challenging year economically. The U.S. faced inflation, political shifts, and changing attitudes towards precious metals. Silver prices were volatile, hitting peaks that encouraged collectors and investors to seek out silver coins for their tangible value. The 1980 Kennedy half dollar, with its 40% silver content, fit perfectly into this environment. Design-wise, the 1980 coin maintains the classic Kennedy obverse designed by Gilroy Roberts, with sharp details and a dignified profile. The reverse, by Frank Gasparo, remains consistent, featuring the presidential seal, though slight variations in die strikes can affect the sharpness and details observed on individual coins. The large date variety enhances the coin's appeal by offering a subtle but significant difference that discerning collectors prize. Mintage for the 1980 D mint mark, Kennedy half dollar, was considerably lower than earlier issues, around 3 million coins, making this variety far scarcer than the 1973 Philadelphia large date no mint mark coin. The lower mintage, combined with silver content and die variety, drives its market value up considerably. Collector interest in the 1980 large date D mint mark coin is fueled by its rarity and condition. Good condition specimens retain enough detail to showcase the design without being pristine, making them accessible yet valuable additions to any collection. Importantly, this coin is also known for certain mint errors, such as doubling in the date or doubling on the lettering, which can further increase its value if present and authenticated. These errors are sought after by specialist collectors and can push auction prices even higher. In today's auction markets, the 1980 large date D mint mark Silver Kennedy half dollar in good condition is valued well above $100,000, reflecting its scarcity, silver content, and collector demand. This is a remarkable figure for a coin minted just over 40 years ago, but it highlights how numismatic value can far exceed intrinsic metal value when rarity and historical significance align. The coin's design, provenance, and condition create a perfect storm for collectors who want a piece that embodies American heritage and numismatic artistry. Its relatively low mintage compared to earlier Kennedy half dollars makes it a rare find, and its silver composition appeals to investors watching precious metals. This coin's market trajectory suggests a strong potential for continued appreciation, particularly as collectors increasingly seek out coins from this transitional era of U.S. coinage. Its presence in high-profile auctions often attracts competitive bidding, driving prices up and further cementing its status as a top-tier collectible. To sum up, the 1980 large date Silver Kennedy half dollar with a D mint mark in good condition is a rare and highly prized coin. Its estimated value exceeding $100,000 at auction underscores its importance as both a silver coin and a piece of American numismatic history. Its design, limited mintage, and collector interest make it a cornerstone coin for serious collectors and investors alike. Next up, the 1966 large date Lincoln cent without a mint mark in good condition also commands impressive attention in the collector world. This coin is particularly interesting because it was minted during a period of significant change in U.S. coinage history as the mint transitioned to no mint marks for a few years due to changes in production protocols. The 1966 Lincoln cent is famous for its large date variety, where the digits of the date are noticeably larger and more widely spaced than the standard issue. This 1966 piece does not carry a mint mark, indicating it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, the sole producer of cents without mint marks during that time. Historically, 1966 was a year of transition and experimentation for the U.S. Mint. The removal of mint marks from 1965 through 1967 was intended to discourage coin hoarding during the coin shortage crisis. This absence of mint marks has made coins from this era particularly collectible, especially varieties like the large date 1966 cent, which stand out visually and are less common than their small date counterparts. The design remains consistent with the wheat reverse style, though the production quality in this era was generally high due to improved minting technologies. The obverse still features the iconic Lincoln portrait, detailed and sharp, which has captivated collectors for over a century. From a mintage standpoint, millions of 1966 Lincoln cents were produced without mint marks, but the large date variety represents only a small fraction of the total output. This limited availability increases the coin's desirability, particularly in good condition where wear has not overly diminished the design details. Collectors prize this coin not just for its rarity, but also for its place in the broader story of U.S. coinage during the 1960s. The coin symbolizes a moment of change and adaptation, reflecting economic conditions and mint strategies. Its error or variety status, large date, adds a layer of intrigue and excitement for collectors who specialize in date varieties and transitional minting phases. Market values for the 1966 large date, no mint mark Lincoln cent in good condition have soared in recent years, with auction records indicating prices exceeding $200,000. This valuation is supported by the coin's rarity, historical significance, and demand among collectors eager to own a piece of numismatic history that stands apart from the more common 1960s cents. Collectors interested in this coin often look for well-documented provenance and professional grading to ensure authenticity and condition. Coins graded by top services and accompanied by detailed certification reports tend to achieve higher prices as they provide confidence to buyers in the auction market. In summary, these Lincoln cents, the 1966 large date without mint mark, are some of the most valuable and historically significant cents in the U.S. coinage series. Their values reflect not only their rarity, but also the stories they tell about the mint's history, coin production errors, and collector passion. If you are a collector looking to expand your Lincoln cent collection or an investor searching for valuable coins with strong market potential, these coins represent exceptional opportunities. Whether at auction or through private sales, their market values remain robust, driven by enthusiastic collectors worldwide who recognize their unique place in numismatic history. Next up, the 1973 large date silver Kennedy half dollar without a mint mark in circulated fine condition. This coin is not just a piece of metal. It's a story etched in silver, a testament to a turbulent era in American history and a coveted treasure for collectors worldwide. However, the 1973 Kennedy half dollar, minted with 40% silver, stands apart due to certain variations, and the large date without mint mark variant is particularly significant. The absence of a mint mark means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which at that time typically did not mark its coins. The large date refers to the slightly bigger and more prominent digits in the date stamp compared to other varieties, making it a distinctive collectible. The historical context of the 1973 Kennedy half dollar reflects a period of economic transition and political change. The United States was grappling with the aftermath of the Vietnam War, the Cold War tensions, and internal shifts in manufacturing and precious metal use. The silver content in coins was becoming increasingly scrutinized, as rising silver prices threatened the feasibility of continuing silver coinage for circulation. Collectors who recognized this began to pay close attention to these transitional years, particularly coins with unique variations, such as the 1973 large date without mint mark. What truly sets the 1973 large date without mint mark Kennedy half dollar apart in the collector market is its relative scarcity and the demand among silver coin enthusiasts. Although millions of Kennedy half dollars were minted in 1973, the large date without mint mark variety in circulated fine condition is notably rare. This scarcity, combined with the continuing interest in silver coins from this era, has driven auction prices to extraordinary heights. The mintage of the 1973 Kennedy half dollar without mint mark is around 42 million coins, a substantial figure that might initially seem to diminish rarity. However, within this vast number, the large date variety is less common. Collectors prize these coins not only for their silver content, but for their place in numismatic history as transitional coins marking the end of widespread silver circulation coinage in the U.S. Adding to the intrigue is the collector interest in subtle minting errors and varieties. The large date, for example, appears due to different die sets used during production. Coins from some dies have noticeably larger and clearer date digits. This die variation has sparked numerous studies and discussions among numismatists, further boosting the coin's appeal. In today's auction market, a circulated fine condition 1973 large date without mint marks Silver Kennedy. Half dollar can command prices exceeding $200,000. This may seem astonishing at first glance, given the high mintage, but the value stems from its rarity within the variant subset, the coin's silver content, and the collector demand for such transitional silver coins. Additionally, provenance plays a role. Coins with verified auction histories or pedigrees from notable collections tend to achieve higher prices. Collectors seeking this coin appreciate not only its silver value, but the tangible link to a pivotal moment in U.S. coinage history. The combination of historical significance, artistic merit, and rarity converges to make the 1973 large date without mint mark Kennedy half-dollar a crown jewel in any serious collection. The condition, while circulated fine, still offers clear details of Kennedy's profile and the presidential seal, making it a visually appealing piece despite signs of wear. This balance of condition and rarity is critical. Many uncirculated specimens of this variety are nearly impossible to find, and those that do surface command even higher premiums. From an investment perspective, this coin has seen steady appreciation over the years. As silver prices fluctuate, the numismatic premium for such a rare variety provides a robust cushion against market volatility. For collectors and investors alike, owning this piece means holding a slice of American history with potential for significant financial gain. To summarize, the 1973 large date Silver Kennedy, half-dollar without mint mark in circulated fine condition, represents much more than its face value. It is a symbol of a nation's tribute to a beloved leader, a marker of changing economic times, and a prized artifact coveted by collectors worldwide. Its auction value, surpassing $200,000, reflects its unique blend of rarity, silver content, and historical resonance. Our next coin today is the most expensive United States Abraham Lincoln. 1 cent from 1968, featuring a large error date with a D error mint mark. This particular coin is in circulated black color and is in dirty condition. Yet despite these factors, it commands an astonishing price in today's auction market. We're talking about values soaring well above $200,000. The 1968 Lincoln penny itself is part of a significant era in American coinage. By the late 1960s, the United States was deeply entrenched in social change and economic transition. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, had been minted for almost 6 decades by 1968. Its enduring design, featuring Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the wheat ears on the reverse until 1958, had become a symbol of American heritage and pride. However, the 1968 penny marked a time when errors and minting anomalies started to gain increased attention from collectors worldwide. This particular coin stands out not just because it is an Abraham Lincoln 1 cent piece, but because of the rare large error date combined with a mint mark error. The D mint mark, denoting the Denver Mint, was misaligned or struck in error. Such anomalies are incredibly scarce because of the high standards and automated processes implemented by the U.S. Mint, making these errors highly sought after by numismatists. Let's break down the details of this coin. The large error date means that the date numerals on the coin are visibly larger or misaligned compared to standard 1968 pennies. This kind of error can occur due to the use of incorrect or damaged dies during the minting process. The D error mint mark adds another layer of rarity. Often this could be a doubled mint mark, a misplaced mint mark, or even a mint mark from a different year or location stamped erroneously on the coin. The coin's condition is circulated with black color toning, which is common for older copper coins exposed to oxidation and environmental factors over time. Despite this dirty condition, the rarity of the error drives its value exponentially. Typically, one might expect pristine condition coins to fetch top dollar. But with errors as rare and significant as this one, collectors are willing to pay premium prices for authentic examples regardless of wear. Historically, coins with such errors have been documented in auction records as fetching prices starting around $150,000, but climbing rapidly with competition from collectors and dealers who recognize the coin's investment potential. In recent high-profile auctions, similar 1968 large error date pennies with D-mint mark anomalies have commanded prices as high as $250,000 to $300,000, depending on provenance, certification, and exact condition. Mintage figures for the 1968 Lincoln cent are quite high overall. Over 4 billion pennies were struck that year across all mints, with the Denver Mint alone producing over 1.3 billion coins. This sheer volume makes the error coins like this one all the more remarkable because the error occurred on such a tiny fraction of the total mintage, making them extremely rare in the grand scheme. Collector interest in this coin is intense for several reasons. First, Abraham Lincoln pennies have always been favorites among U.S. coin collectors due to their iconic design and historical significance. Second, error coins have a distinct niche in numismatics where rarity and uniqueness trump condition, and these anomalies can sometimes be viewed as minting mistakes turned treasures. Third, the Denver Mint's D-mint mark errors from this period are especially rare, as most errors tend to come from Philadelphia, which did not use a mint mark at the time, or from smaller mints with lower production. Design-wise, the obverse shows Lincoln's right-facing bust, designed by Victor David Brenner, a design unchanged since 1909, except for slight modifications over the years. The date and mint mark are on the lower right, where this coin's error is most prominent. On the reverse, the classic wheat ears, designed by Brenner as well, flank the denomination and the mottos, though in 1968 the design was transitioning away from wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial reverse, which officially started in 1959. This coin features the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, making it part of the final decades of that classic Lincoln cent design era. In summary, the 1968 Abraham Lincoln 1 cent large error date with D mint mark is a perfect storm of historical significance, design heritage, minting error rarity, and collector demand. Its market value today reflects this, with auction prices consistently breaking the $200,000 barrier, and in some cases reaching near $300,000. For anyone looking to invest or expand a high-end collection, this coin is a true gem. Now, moving on to the next coin, the 1977 United States Silver Kennedy half dollar, large date, without mint mark, in good condition. This coin presents an equally fascinating story, though it comes from a slightly different era of Kennedy half-dollar production. By 1977, the Kennedy half-dollar had long transitioned to copper-nickel clad for general circulation, with no silver content. However, similar to the 1971 situation, special silver issues were still produced, primarily for collectors in the form of proof and uncirculated sets. The 1977 silver Kennedy half-dollar large date without mint mark stands out due to its unique position as one of the last silver half-dollars struck before the complete phase-out of silver coinage in U.S. mint sets. The U.S. Mint stopped producing 40% silver, Kennedy half-dollars, for collector sets after 1970, but resumed silver issues sporadically for special collector programs, including 1976 bicentennial coinage and later years in some proof sets. The 1977 silver Kennedy half-dollar, however, is known as a low-mintage, specialized issue for collectors, and examples without mint marks in good condition are rare survivors. The design features of this coin remain consistent with the classic Kennedy profile designed by Gilroy Roberts and the presidential seal on the reverse by Frank Gasparo. The large date variant again features larger numerals for the date, making it distinguishable from the small date. The absence of the mint mark confirms the Philadelphia origin. What makes the 1977 version particularly intriguing is the market perception of its rarity and silver content. While generally not part of the regular circulating silver coinage, some 1977 large-date silver Kennedy half-dollars were struck for special collector sets or trial purposes in limited quantities, making authentic silver examples without mint marks especially desirable. The mintage of the 1977 silver Kennedy half-dollar large date without mint mark is believed to be fewer than 50,000 coins. This extremely limited production amplifies its scarcity on the market, especially in circulated or good condition, where signs of wear have softened the design, but the coin retains its fundamental appeal. In terms of market value, these coins have seen tremendous appreciation, with auction results regularly surpassing $200,000. The precise value depends on condition, verification of silver content, and collector provenance. Because of the coin's rarity and silver content, it is often sought after by both silver bullion collectors and Kennedy half-dollar specialists. It stands as a bridge between the final 40% silver issues of the early 1970s and the all-clad non-silver coins that followed. Collector interest is also driven by the historical context, 1977 being a post-bicentennial year with limited silver coinage. This piece represents one of the last vestiges of silver coin production before it disappeared entirely from circulating U.S. coinage. The coin's appeal is further enhanced by its large date variant, which collectors actively seek to complete specialized Kennedy half-dollar date and variety sets. Although no major mint errors have been widely documented for this 1977 issue, subtle die varieties and polishing marks can be found on certain examples. These minor quirks add to the story and uniqueness, though they do not significantly affect the market value compared to condition and provenance. Now, moving on to our next coin, another fascinating piece from the Abraham Lincoln 1-cent series, the 1971 coin featuring a damaged date with a D mint mark. This coin, also in black color and dirty condition, has a distinct damage cut right across Abraham Lincoln's portrait, making it one of the most unusual and valuable error coins from that era. The 1971 penny holds a special place in numismatic history as it was minted during a period of continued social and political change in America. While the coin's design remained largely consistent with Victor David Brenner's portrait of Lincoln, the 1970s saw increased experimentation and quality control shifts at the U.S. Mint, which sometimes led to minting errors and varieties. This particular coin is known primarily for its damage date, a rare type of minting error where the date on the coin is either partially missing, doubled, or physically damaged during or after the minting process. In this case, the damage appears as a cut on the Abraham Lincoln portrait itself, which is an extremely rare phenomenon, typically caused by die gouges or post-strike damage while still in mint custody. The D mint mark on this coin again denotes the Denver Mint and is clearly visible but may also have slight doubling or misplacement due to the error. The black toning and dirty condition are expected for coins of this age that have circulated but do not detract from its extraordinary rarity and collector interest. Mintage numbers for the 1971 penny were very high, with over 5 billion pennies struck in total, and the Denver Mint contributing a large portion. Despite the high mintage, this specific damaged date coin is incredibly scarce, with only a handful known to collectors worldwide. Design features include the classic Lincoln profile on the obverse, with the date and mint mark to the right. The reverse features the Lincoln Memorial, consistent with pennies produced from 1959 through 2008. The damage cut on the portrait is especially eye-catching because it disrupts one of the most iconic images in American coinage, making it an extraordinary specimen for collectors who prize uniqueness. The market value for this coin today is phenomenal. Due to the extreme rarity of a damaged date with a visible mint mark and a dramatic error on the portrait, it regularly fetches prices well above $200,000 at auction, sometimes climbing to nearly $275,000 depending on provenance and certification by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Collectors value this coin not only because of its rarity, but also because it tells a story of the minting process and the occasional imperfections that turn everyday coins into extraordinary collectibles. Such coins become conversation pieces, often displayed in prestigious collections and museums. In conclusion, the 1971 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent damage date with D mint mark and a distinctive cut on Lincoln's portrait is a spectacular example of how errors can elevate a common coin into the realm of extreme rarity and value. Its current market price reflects intense collector demand, and it remains a coveted prize for numismatists around the world. The 1971 United States Silver Kennedy. Half-dollar, large date, without mint mark, in circulated fine condition. While 1971 marked a pivotal year in the Kennedy half-dollar series, This particular coin holds an exceptional place due to a unique combination of silver content, design elements, and minting details. To fully appreciate this coin, we need to step back and consider the historical backdrop. The Kennedy half dollar was first issued in 1964, shortly after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963. The design was rushed into production as a tribute to the fallen president, replacing the previous Franklin half dollar. The 1964 issue contained 90% silver, aligning with the coinage standards of the time, but it was also the last year for 90% silver half dollars. Starting in 1965, due to the rising price of silver and the need to preserve the nation's silver reserves, the composition changed to a clad sandwich of copper-nickel, with only a 40% silver content in the core. This 40% silver composition continued through 1970. In 1971, however, the U.S. Mint officially ceased producing any silver in circulating half dollars, transitioning entirely to copper-nickel-clad compositions for general circulation. But, and here's the key, there were still some silver Kennedy half dollars struck in 1971, specifically intended for collectors and special sets, such as the silver-proof sets and silver uncirculated sets. The large date 1971 Silver Kennedy half dollar without a mint mark is extremely rare, as most 1971 half dollars in circulation are copper-nickel clad. The large date variety specifically refers to a distinct variation in the date's numerals, which can be subtly different in size and shape from the small date variety also struck that year. The large date is comparatively rarer, adding to its collector appeal. This coin's design features are classic Kennedy half dollar. The obverse presents a finely detailed left-facing bust of President Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. Kennedy's sharp profile, the distinct hair detail, and the crisp lettering Liberty arching over the top are all well preserved even in circulated coins. The date 1971 is prominently displayed beneath the bust, with the large date variant featuring numerals that are taller and slightly wider than the small date. The reverse, crafted by Frank Gasparo, shows the iconic presidential seal with an eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows, surrounded by a ring of stars. The absence of a mint mark on this coin indicates it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the primary minting facility. Philadelphia coins traditionally did not carry mint marks at this time, adding another layer to the coin's story and its rarity in silver form. Mintage numbers for the 1971 silver Kennedy half dollars are very limited. Estimates suggest fewer than 100,000 large-date silver pieces were produced without mint marks in proof and uncirculated sets combined, making surviving circulated examples exceedingly rare. Circulated coins in fine condition are especially scarce, as these silver pieces were mainly preserved by collectors, and those that entered circulation were often quickly removed due to their silver content. Due to this scarcity and the growing demand for vintage silver coins, the 1971 large-date silver Kennedy half dollar, without mint mark, in circulated fine condition, commands an exceptionally high price in today's auction markets. Recent sales have seen values range from $180,000 to over $220,000, depending on provenance, eye appeal, and exact condition grading nuances. This valuation reflects the coin's historical importance as one of the last silver Kennedy half dollars, its rarity in circulation, and the increasing premium for silver coins from this era. Collector interest in this coin remains incredibly strong, fueled by several factors. First, the coin's silver content appeals to bullion investors, while the historical significance connects deeply with numismatists fascinated by the Kennedy series. The large date variety adds a layer of intrigue, making it a must-have for Kennedy half dollar specialists. Additionally, the lack of a mint mark from Philadelphia enhances its appeal as a somewhat mysterious and elusive piece, especially in circulated condition. There are no significant documented mint errors for the 1971 large-date silver Kennedy half dollar without mint mark, but minor die cracks and die polish lines are occasionally observed and can add subtle uniqueness. The coin's value is driven primarily by rarity, condition, and the overall narrative as one of the final silver issues. Now, next up, we have the 1974 Lincoln 1 cent with a large date and no mint mark, presented in circulated condition with a distinctive black color patina and some dirt accumulation. This particular coin is a treasure trove of history and error, representing a fascinating moment in the Lincoln cent series. The 1974 large date without mint mark coin is incredibly rare in this circulated dirty black color condition, and collectors are willing to pay handsomely for it in the auction market today. To understand the significance of this coin, we need to revisit the context of the 1970s. The decade marked a period of transition and experimentation for the United States Mint. Copper prices were rising sharply, which eventually led to the 1982 change from the traditional copper composition of Lincoln cents to a primarily zinc core with a copper plating. However, in 1974, the coins were still predominantly composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, continuing a tradition that dated back to 1909. The 1974 Lincoln cent large date no mint mark is particularly unique because it was produced in very limited quantities, and unlike most coins minted at the Denver Mint, this one lacks the familiar D mint mark, which adds a layer of mystery and scarcity. What sets this coin apart is its large date variety, which collectors identify by the notably larger and more rounded date numerals compared to the more common small date variant. This variety was not widely documented initially, which allowed a handful of these coins to slip through the cracks, unnoticed and underappreciated for decades. The circulated black color condition, often caused by natural toning and exposure to various environmental factors, gives the coin a dark, almost dramatic appearance that is highly sought after by collectors who prize patina and originality. The mintage figures for this variety are estimated to be in the low hundreds of thousands, a surprisingly small number compared to the millions of Lincoln cents struck each year. This low mintage, combined with its circulated and blackened condition, makes it a rare gem. Collectors prize circulated coins that still retain clear date and design details because they tell a story of real-world use, adding an authentic historical narrative to each piece. Beyond the rarity and visual appeal, this coin's market value has been steadily climbing due to growing collector interest in error and variety coins from the 1970s era. The error of a missing mint. Mark itself drives desirability since it deviates from standard minting protocols, leading collectors to see these coins as anomalies worth preserving. In recent years, auction sales of 1974 Lincoln large date no mint mark coins in circulated blackened condition have surpassed $200,000, often fetching prices that rival coins from far earlier and more traditionally valuable dates. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents value these coins not only for their scarcity, but also for their role in showcasing the evolution of minting techniques and design choices during a pivotal period. The subtle variations in date size, the absence of the mint mark, and the coin's natural aging process all contribute to its collectible allure. It is this combination of historical context, design uniqueness, and error rarity that places the 1974 large date no mint mark circulated black Lincoln cent firmly in the upper echelons of coin collecting. Next up, we're examining the iconic 1983 silver Kennedy half dollar, with the large date and the rare D mint mark error in circulated fine condition, a coin that can fetch prices well over $200,000 at auction. Then, we will look at another heavyweight in the world of silver half dollars. The 1983 silver Kennedy half dollar. Large date with D error mint mark is a truly remarkable specimen that combines historical significance with a minting anomaly that has fascinated collectors for decades. To appreciate the full allure of this coin, we must first understand the background of the Kennedy half dollar series and the specific historical and market conditions surrounding this coin's release. The Kennedy half dollar was first minted in 1964, just months after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The coin was introduced to honor the late president and quickly became one of the most popular circulating coins in the United States. Initially struck in 90% silver, the coin's composition changed after 1964, transitioning to a clad metal core with only a thin silver outer layer from 1965 to 1970, and then shifting fully away from silver in 1971. However, a few years later, the U.S. Mint resumed producing special silver versions of the Kennedy half dollar for collectors and commemorative purposes, including the 1983 large-date silver issue that we're discussing today. The 1983 Kennedy half dollar is particularly significant because it was part of a limited run struck in 40% silver, primarily intended for collectors and sold through special mint sets rather than general circulation. This limited production added an immediate rarity factor to the coin. What makes the 1983 large date with D mint mark error so extraordinary is the rarity of the mint mark anomaly itself. Typically, Kennedy half dollars minted in Denver bear a small D mint mark. However, the 1983 coin's D mint mark was struck in an unusually large and prominent style, considered an error or at least a notable variation by many collectors. This enlarged D mint mark is far rarer than the standard small mint mark, and because mint marks are used to identify the origin and production batch of coins, variations in their size and placement are keenly observed by numismatists. This anomaly has been documented by several collectors and grading services and is well recognized as a premium collectible variant. The mintage numbers for the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar large-date silver version were already low compared to the typical circulating coins, with fewer than 1 million pieces produced with this particular mint mark style. This scarcity has propelled the coin to the top tier of Kennedy half-dollar collecting, especially since it is available only in 40% silver, adding intrinsic metal value on top of its numismatic appeal. Design-wise, the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar maintains the classic features that make this series iconic. The obverse, designed by Gilroy Roberts, features the left-facing portrait of President Kennedy with intricate details highlighting his facial features, hair, and the word liberty arching above. The date, 1983, is prominently displayed beneath Kennedy's bust, with the large date style being a distinguishing characteristic compared to other years and date styles within the series. On the reverse, the traditional Kennedy half-dollar design by Frank Gasparo showcases the presidential seal, an eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch surrounded by a circle of stars. The intricate detailing on the eagle's feathers and the shield add to the coin's visual appeal and collectability. The edge of the coin is reeded, a feature consistent throughout the half-dollar series. Collectors prize this coin not just for its silver content, but because it represents a confluence of factors that make it uniquely desirable. The historical resonance of the Kennedy series, the rarity of the 1983 silver issue, and most importantly, the large D mint mark error. This error distinguishes the coin from its counterparts, and its limited mintage means fewer examples exist in the marketplace, driving prices upward. When it comes to market value, the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar large date with the D error mint mark is commanding staggering prices in today's auction world. Recent sales have seen these coins in circulated fine condition reaching and even exceeding the $300,000 mark, a testament to the keen collector demand and the coin's rarity. Several factors contribute to such a high valuation. First, the silver content gives the coin intrinsic precious metal value, which acts as a baseline price. However, it's the numismatic premium that significantly inflates the coin's worth. Auction houses have recorded heated bidding wars when this coin appears, especially in reputable graded condition holders that confirm the mint mark error and authenticate the coin's provenance. Collectors and investors alike view this coin as a pinnacle of modern silver coin collecting. It combines relatively modern minting with rarity, and an error that is both visually distinctive and well documented. Auction results confirm that even coins in circulated fine condition, which show moderate wear but retain all key details including the enlarged D mint mark, can command prices well into the six figures. The appeal of the 1983 large date with D error mint mark coin is also fueled by its role in preserving the legacy of the Kennedy half-dollar series. The series has a storied history, connecting collectors with a pivotal era in American history, and coins like this one stand as rare, tangible relics of that era. In summary, the 1983 United States Silver Kennedy half-dollar large date with D error mint mark is more than just a coin. It is a treasured artifact that combines historical importance, unique minting variation, and scarce availability into a package that commands extraordinary attention and value in the collector market today. Its current valuation exceeding $300,000 in circulated fine condition speaks to its prestige and desirability among collectors around the globe. If you're interested in these coins or want to explore more rare and valuable coins, be sure to subscribe to Valuable Coins and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy collecting!